Good morning. Welcome back to 3-Day Weekend. It is not a beautiful day at 3DW headquarters. It's gonna rain all weekend, but that's okay because the buds are starting on the trees, so summer is coming. Oh man, I'm excited. So it is a good day to be working inside. I have two machines that are missing transmissions. There's one, waiting on parts for that guy, the Pro XP. And then last week we tore the transmission out of this guy, old Floyd. The, what is this, a 2019 ACE 570. We have a bad output shaft and the bad yoke. So we have to tear that transmission apart. So that's what we're gonna work on today. I have all the parts for that machine, so hopefully we can get that torn apart and rebuilt and ready to go. But the first step is power washing. I'm just gonna take that outside, get her all power washed right up, nice and clean, so we can put it back, well, work on it without getting dust inside of it. I just thought of it for the very first time. It's full of fluid. So I'm gonna try to get it up on some blocks. Of course, most of my good blocks are being used already. That's okay. Try to get the fluid drained out. We got it. Piece of cake. I'm gonna bump the back up a little bit, I think, because it looks a little low. But she's draining. That's the second tray. I had to dump the first one already. Drain plug is in. That's the rest of the fluid. I have the service manual called up. There we go. So we are ready to begin. I have it turned back around. We're gonna pull the bell crank off first. It's in high gear now, which is all the way forward. Looks like that is a 13 millimeter. It is. There. It does have a master keyway. Oh, can you see that? Yeah. That big one. That lines up with the corresponding one over there, so can't really put it back together the wrong way. Then we're gonna pull off this clip. This here clip. We're gonna account for this washer that just went flying. There we go, clip and the washer. And then we'll take this off. Then we're going to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts and remove this entire cover. That one's got a special hanger on it. We're going to mark that. I don't want to forget. There we go. Little H on there. Let me take the rest off. All the screws are exactly the same. Oh, there she goes. Jeez. There it is. I've been pushing my thumb on this, pulling carefully because that's just a vent tube, and tapping it with a hard hammer. And it finally just split. Man, that did not want to come off. Careful. That spring, it seems to be very similar in design to the Pro. Okay, it's open. Now we're gonna lay this on its side. Pretty solid enough. We're gonna go around and remove all the screws from the outside. Those are 12 millimeter. Pounds held down by 3 long bolts. I'm just going to put those right back in it so I don't forget or lose them. Okay, all the screws are out. Okay. There are 3 designated spots to pry. And once you pry them, it comes right off. Sweet. After the shift rail next. Just pull that right out. Oh, I forgot to set up a place to set all these. Hold on a second. We have 2 forks. This upper one, which goes between these 2 guys up there, and this lower one, which goes between those 2 guys down there. Just want to be sure we put that in the right spot. Output gear. Ugh, that's a heavy one. These 2 come out together. But in order to get those out, you gotta lift on this. We got it. Gonna have a 3rd hand for that mess. That wool assembly there. My goodness. Whoa, don't fall off. Oh, it got me. We're just left with this, which appears to have some a special retainer on it. I remember that from the Pro XP. Has the same thing on there. Then we have 4 5mm hex heads holding in this pinion shaft. One of these is going to be longer than the rest, but we got to take them all out. Yeah, so the long one is up front. That makes sense. Nice. That's a serious chunk of metal right there. We have to remove the seal, and I did not order a replacement seal because I forgot about it. The only way I know to get that seal out is by pretty much destroying it, but I guess it's a good thing to replace the seal anyway. Not much I can do about that. Let's pull it out. There it is. Now this is loose. So I'm going to count threads just to make sure that I get it close when I set it. Once I put the new shaft in there. So let's count some threads. I'm going to put a paint mark on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, 13. And it went out right there. So I'm gonna make another mark. And it was 13. And a half, I guess. Okay. That's out. The entire assembly comes out. Oh yeah. We are in deep. We are in deep. Getting closer. Now I have to remove that snap ring so we can free the shaft. Let me get the new shaft wheel and set them side by side and compare. There we are. That's what we're working on. So we have to get all that stuff over to this stuff. So definitely need to pull that snap ring. Got it. There it is. Jeez, I thought we were good. Okay, got the shaft off the one side. Looks like we have another snap ring, a tiny one on that side. Well, that came off much easier than I expected. This will be an interesting... I don't know if I want to press it by the gear, but what other choice do I have? Let me think on this one. Got my Harbor Freight clamshell bearing puller thing. I think I'll try to set that on the press and push down on here. See what that does for us. It moved. There we go, revision 2. I only need to push it a little bit before I can use the actual tool. I've got a point from a bearing puller, and that should be enough. Yep. It's a perfect size. Oh, okay, all right. We got her. We got her. There's the old shaft. Yeah. Okay. There it be. Boy, that exploded off of there. But we got it. We got that shaft off. I don't know if I showed you, really explained what was happening on here. This is the new one, that's the old one. This has nice tall shaft splines on it, but this one, they're all worn down to a point. And that's because of the yoke. Well, not because of. They failed together. If I put this on, the two shouldn't spin. And look, I can spin that. If I move it out or in, I can't. But when everything lines up just right, see a little bump, it spins free. So, four-wheel drive, not happening. It's just turning. So you put the new one on, and it's very stiff. I don't want to get that all ugly. So I went down to the driveline shop, had them put a brand new yoke on there. So we have a brand new shaft, brand new yoke. That will fix our four-wheel drive for the foreseeable future. That's what we're working on. That's the reasoning behind this entire mess. I've never had this fail before. I had a similar thing fail back at the Kodiak one time, but never this, where you have to take the whole transmission apart. What are you gonna do? We got it. We're getting there. Well, that was easy. One down. Let's get the next side up. Beautiful, beautiful. Don't forget the washer on there. Yes. Amazing. Washer. And a snap ring. This one we already have the washer in place. So we just need to get this snap ring up in there. The last thing we're going to do is we want to push this out toward the snap ring a little bit, just take up that gap. Service manual says if you don't do that, then it could change your backlash later, and we don't want to deal with that again. So we're just going to push it up, take up, there's just the smallest little gap between the snap ring and the end, so we'll just take up that gap. Just that, like that. We are ready to start putting things together. Got some white lithium grease. We're just going to put a little bit on the threads there before we send it home. Let's see, that's right there. That's our half. One, it's 13, remember? Got almost 14 out of it. Okay. So next we're gonna put in, where's that shaft? This shaft. This one, we're gonna set that in place and we'll be setting our backlash. There we go. We're going to install the 3 bolts. Oops, no we're not. We're supposed to apply Loctite. They want red Loctite on these. Must be they really don't want them to come out. Let me get these cleaned up and get some red Loctite on it. Alright, those are all torqued to 10 foot-pounds. We're ready to set the lash. I got it sitting up. See, the output shaft is over there. We gotta peek down this hole, which is gonna be difficult. We're looking for notches to pass by. There we go. You can see the latches, or the notches now. So we're gonna set it all the way to 0, and then we're gonna count. 0, 1, 2, 3. And that's where we're gonna set our lash. We're back up on the blocks. Got the output shaft ready to rock. We need to put the input shaft, the shift shaft, and the idler shaft in all at the same time. It says this'll be fun. I only have 2 hands. That one's got to go there somehow. Yeah. But let me clean these gears up just a little bit. I see some foreign matter on them. There we go. I remember this had to be up for everything else to fit. So I'll just leave it like that. Try to put the input and the shift shaft in at the same time. Oh, there we go. That wasn't too bad. And we are ready for the output shaft. There it is. All right. Shifter next. I have the shift forks. I remember they went in that groove and this groove. That might be a little tricky to get them in there. There we go. Like that. And the shift drum. There we go. Time to seal it up. We're going to be using Permatex Ultra Gray Gasket Maker High Torque. Just put a nice even bead all the way around so it shouldn't leak. Okay, let's put the cover back on. Get some screws in this bad boy. Remember these three? We gotta find that engine mount. Then we'll go around and torque them all to 20 foot-pounds. Torqued. Transmission is together. Just gotta work on this shift linkage stuff. Okay, we got our little star. There is a mark on it. So we're going to want to face that toward us. And it'll only go on one way because of the master keyway there. But we're going to need to remove the shaft from this side. Ah, there we go. Okay. We are clearly not in the correct gear because they are not lined up. See the marks? The marks. We are not lined up. I'm going to see if I can turn that shaft to get us lined up properly. There we go. We're nice and lined up now. Perfect. Next we have the detent prawl, it's called. It's got a ridge that's going to go down to give us the correct spacing, and it's got a master spline like everything else up here so far. So once we get it lined up, it'll fit right in there. And then we just need to set the spring. Like so. Just gonna clean this up a little bit before we put the cover back on. More sealant. And some screws. All of these get tightened down to 14 foot-pounds. Your selector. Only goes on one way. And the other part of the shifter or selector goes in a little groove there, so that's neat. And then what did we have on this one? We had a washer, a funny looking bendy washer, and a circlip. Just like that. And then we have, what do they call this? The bell crank. And there's that master spline, so it only goes on one way. And we'll put our 13mm bolt on there, and we will torque that down to 18 foot-pounds. Alright, while it's on the bench, I want to run it through all the gears and make sure everything is acting as expected. When I tighten this bolt, it turned it all the way back, which needs park. That won't move. This one should be reverse. Yep. And if I turn that way, this is turning the opposite way. One more is neutral. Yep, not doing anything. One more is low. This is turning the same way as that now, but very slowly. And the last one is high. And it's turning there too. Beautiful. A new seal is in. Oh, careful. Careful. A little piece of wood and a hammer, and we'll tap that into place. That ridge, we're going right to the end of the taper all the way around. That is perfect. That transmission is done and ready to be reinstalled. However, I don't have anyone to help me right now, so I'm gonna have to wait until everyone gets home. We're gonna drop that in there. But it's gonna be a separate video. We did the transmission rebuild, we took the transmission out, last video up, put the transmission back in the machine. It's over there in the abyss, Dark Bay. So we'll pick it up there on the next video. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every viewer, every subscriber, especially you members who join on the YouTube channel. Hit us up on that Patreon, patreon.com/3dayweekend. We really, really appreciate all the support. Keeps the wheels turning and everything like that. Everything we do has a playlist if you're into the ACEs or you're into the Pro XP or into other stuff, just working in the shop, the excavator, bulldozer, you name it, check out those playlists. But thanks again for watching, and I hope that you'll join me for another video right here on 3 Day Weekend.